The following video is with two builders, one from CasinoCoin and one from ArtFXMeta. They have aligned in their two visions. They are going to make Web3 come to you in ways that you probably never dreamed of. It's become very apparent that this project is all about taking a real-world environment, bringing that to a virtual space where you'll be able to experience streaming payments. As you engage, you and the participants can be rewarded. Payments are the backbone driving this project. You're also going to learn that within just a couple of months, at least one project that is attached to the XRP Ledger grants, they have a bright future through a collaborative arrangement. And Wietse Wind and his team, who have been unbelievably valuable and helpful to the community, it appears that they too will continue being a key component with their single sign-on. Bottom line, this is a 3D payments-centric metaverse with its first stop in a casino with a real player count. I can tell you that if you get into the latter half of this video, you'll really be able to understand and grasp the project trajectory. Yes, do enjoy. Hey, everybody, it's Eddie in Tokyo, and I have two very special guests. This has been in the making for a few weeks, and I'm really thrilled that we are finally here. We have Daniel Keller. He is with CasinoCoin. He has been, if you've been following him at all, it's been in this space a very long time, but has really brought this CasinoCoin to a new level, brought it back to the XRP Ledger, has taken the company to Isle of Man, created this eminence holding company that he can explain more about, and then found he's got some great working partners out there. And so in this particular video, we have Josh Ponderjont. Yeah, Josh, nice to see you. Daniel, thank you for taking the time. I know you're really, really busy, but we want to talk about, your project, where it's going, how the technology is being used, and some of the things to look forward to. So go ahead, Daniel, you go first. Introduce yourself and give us a little bit of what CasinoCoin is.
Sounds good. So I'm Daniel Keller. I'm CTO of Eminence, as you already said. We issued CasinoCoin on the XRPL. CasinoCoin originally was created back in 2013 as an LTC fork. The developer back then went like missing in action, kind of Satoshi style. Community took the project over. End of 2016, beginning of 2017, a couple of people decided that the branding is really great, worked on building a foundation and an operating company, took the project to the Isle of Man. Back then, we did a software fork of Ripple D. We did run our own network, so we had our own set of validators, our own set of stock nodes, all that stuff. So running technically a fork of XRP, sorry. End of 2020, these entities went bust. Couple of people decided to leave the project, and Matt Cheatham, who was is my business partner still, and we were like, we need to see how we can fix this. Bounced a couple of ideas back and forth. Originally had a different vision on how we would like to progress, but in the end we ended up on we're going to go back where we belong to, which is the XRPL. That's a lot on the conversations we had with the foundation and Wietse, because they said look, you guys know so much about the XRPL. It's naturally that you come back. On the other hand, there was no real alternative when it comes to speed and cost effectiveness of transactions. So yes, we went back to the XRPL. We coded our CasinoCoin lobby, which is an XApp inside Zoom. We were the first project to use XRP Labs KYC. We KYC'd over 11,000 people during the coin swap.
Wow.
Moved over successfully. Process was a bit painful. Got relisted on a couple of exchanges, which is still a bit of a pain point right now. But yeah, we launched the lobby on New Year's Eve, which some people might say is a funny date, but based on the testing and stuff and the coordination we had to do with partners, there was no other options. And as we said, we're going to do this in 21, so better late than never. The lobby is still in kind of a soft launch mode. It works. We are already onboarding other partners, which is a bit of a slow progress at the moment. That's based on COVID. And I know this is being played a lot in the last weeks, but most people don't realize a lot of IT power is from Ukraine because they're very keen on IT. It's a very not passionate, but they're very skilled, right? So they have this Western mindset. They're having a lower end wage class. So a lot of companies use them. A lot of people we are working with are now in the process of relocating. So everything is a bit slow, but I'm looking forward to get some more partners into the lobby in the next weeks.
There are a lot of projects that found themselves in the position you did, where teams were having to relocate or move their offices to new locations. And yeah, it's been a challenge.
Yeah,
I know for sure. Yeah, that's great. I'm really happy you came back to the XRP ledger. And I know the XRP community is thrilled. I have my CasinoCoin. I'm actually staking it on BitTrue. Just so, yeah. And I'm very happy right now with that Power Piggy until you are going to go to your next level. And then I'm very excited to see what I can do in your new environment. So Josh, you are in this conversation also, but you bring a little bit of a different set of skill. What is it that you're doing? Why are you here?
Yeah, no, so yeah, first of all, I'm Josh James. I go by PonderJohn on Twitter, and I'm CEO and founder of Artifex Meta. And what we're looking at doing is bringing conversations around what the XRPL would look like in 3D. I think that's like the most simple explanation. But beyond that, it's taking a deeper dive into e-commerce and 3D commerce and looking at how transactions start to move when you consider people in three-dimensional digital space. So what we are building essentially are the tool sets that allow people to kind of explore the web in a 3D way. So you take away that 2D kind of website experience and you introduce depth and you introduce movement and interaction with digital objects, whether they be NFTs or, you know, scenery. There's a lot of options there, and the creativity being tied to the value, especially that is present on the XRPL, I think is exactly where we want to be. So it's really cool to be in an ecosystem that is so young and energized to build creative payment solutions. So yeah, we want to take our position amongst all the exciting projects there, and of course, really excited to work with some of the top ones, of course.
So how does a casino look in an environment? How might that look, and what would the user experience be? You know, how is it different when you actually meld your business model with that technology?
Absolutely. I think the first thing that we have to talk about is the concept of streaming payments. And for people that are not aware of what that means, as users experience content, view it, interact with it, there's opportunities to engage with direct payment streams between either the content and the user, or potentially two users, one that created the content and one that's viewing it. What gets really exciting is when you can do multi-user interactions or multi-object interactions, which introduces a little bit more complex payment streaming on the back end, but really opens up the creative opportunities when you're introducing people with new ideas in the same space that are either having a shared experience with a virtual gaming casino object, or potentially just like talking strategy. Allowing that type of engagement to have payments attached to it, I think is going to introduce an entire new marketplace, essentially. So it's all about building the space for that first, and what that space looks like. And this is where things kind of get exciting for us, at least, is whatever the user wants. And that could be decided on the creative level by a production team that wants to build a space. We could go so far as scan physical spaces into a digital scene, so people can go explore places that they traditionally couldn't go in real life. And with COVID, that becomes a little bit more enticing to maybe go to a Las Vegas setting without actually having to go to Vegas. So the answer is, it looks like whatever anybody wants it to, and that is really exciting too, when you consider how every object in a scene could have payment information attached. So then it's like bringing all of this creative energy into a setting. How does the value interact? How do you track that? How do payouts work? These are all things that we're looking to solve. At least take a stab at. Maybe there's no solution for this yet, but I think giving people that experience and seeing what happens is where we're focused right now.
So if I were to walk into an environment that might be not necessarily something that doesn't exist, it could be something that exists in the real world, but I'm able to enter it into through a virtual world. And then if I feel like going over to the sports book and I want to do some greyhound racing, so if I participate, there is a form of maybe streaming payments to me on an on-demand basis in playing that game. And then maybe,
essentially on interaction, right?
Like Coil does, because I'm familiar with Coil's streaming platform, being a content creator. Is it the same kind of technology?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's reliant very heavily on interledger protocol. And it utilizes without going into too much detail, it utilizes similar technology to track how users are engaging with specific stream content. So in Coil's, a Coil example would be like Cinnamon Video, for instance, doing streaming payments for watching video. Video is a really cool, rich media format. Obviously, look at YouTube, look at all of these video streamers. What gets interesting is when you can start to like put video type content into 3D spaces, watch how people interact with it, almost like a live stream in 3D. So it gives you that audience kind of back. And so if we wanted to talk about a virtual gaming example, it's like you look at a poker tournament, and it's almost fun to be in the crowd and to feel that energy around the table. That's something that we can kind of virtualize. So there might actually be more value possible in the crowd streaming payments in that environment than is possible as part of the pot on the poker table. And I think we want to look at that and compare that to traditional models like Twitch, for instance, which does reward people for active engagement and viewership within like a closed ecosystem and economy. They use Twitch bits, and there's some cool stuff that I think we can do rewarding engagement. And again, CasinoCoin's exciting because I think there's some value that can be explored there. with how users interact with these objects in these spaces.
Viewership is huge.
Yeah, I mean, we just had the conversation a few minutes ago, right? One of the items or one of the topics we talked about in the very beginning is if you compare this to something like Decentraland or, like I said, GTA 5 Casino, and the example I gave you myself, which is if you out with a couple of friends, you're in a casino, what happens a lot is one person is playing and 3 people are watching and they're having a conversation, having a beer. So while one is actively gambling, there's some social interaction. So, and that's what we're working on, is where one person is actively gaming and the others can see what happens, because if someone is sitting on a machine and he wins a jackpot, everyone is be excited, or everyone will be excited.
Yeah, it's one of the attractions or draws to a sports book, you know, especially with the big football games or the larger grade stakes horse racing. You know, people are out of their seats yelling the number, go for, go, go. And just to be in that environment is very exciting. And I think I mentioned to Daniel, my mom was she was a really good craps player. And I used to just go to watch her play because that table was so exciting. And there was so much going on that there was probably just as many people watching as there were playing. So I can absolutely see the fun that you can have. There's a huge fun factor just being inside that environment. So this space is gonna go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that happens a lot in a casino. If you walk past someone who is having a good run at blackjack or any table game, and you see a crowd of people standing and watching, you immediately stop and you're just having a look to figure out what's going on. And I've spent hours in the casino watching other people playing because it was kind of exciting. Not particular slots, but everything that requires like everything that's a table game, right?
A decision,
it's really exciting.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, with the esports now, where there are teams and then thousands of people go to watch those teams compete, I think that there isn't any reason why also that kind of e-gaming couldn't come into, it crosses over, there's synergy. They could be part of the entertainment, you know. So you go right to the bar, to the bar, you go straight ahead to the table games, you go to the music on the left, and then maybe some e-gaming to the far left around the corner. You know, you've got just all these choices that you can choose from how you want to spend your time.
Yeah, I mean, these things are already happen, right? So in Germany, we have dedicated TV channels that stream e-gaming events. And I didn't know this like up till like a year ago. They're actually putting people in like, not stadiums, but like locations where the team is sitting on stage. There's an audience, there are people commenting on it. So you could easily do a public viewing in the metaverse where you allow the betting straight away.
Yeah. And that ILP streaming of payments, which Stefan Thomas was so great at inventing, has really some very instant gratification for people who are participating. So this is going to be a huge industry. They talk about it being $100 billion by 2026. I'm kind of curious, what's going to drive this growth? What are some of your ideas of what's going to drive the growth?
I can take that. That's it's a great question. I think, and it's honestly something that I think Ripple talks a lot about in one of the boons or the benefits of the XRPL. And I think it's really going to be mobile access, where they have the conversation on mobile banking. It's all tied to what we're still talking about, because with you know, ID and account-based access with payments attached, you can start to deliver entertainment services side by side. And so when you're looking at at mobile phone access and accessibility in general, that opens up a lot of doors because at Artifex Meta, again, we're not trying to force everybody into a head-mounted display virtual reality setting, although we do support that, right? It's for us, it's about browser-based experiences. It's about taking the existing web and adding that depth. So people with mobile phones get that added depth. They can start to do things that even people that have experienced mobile devices for the past 10 years really aren't experiencing themselves. I mean, there's recent pushes towards AR, augmented reality and stuff on mobile, but I think really focusing on browser-based experiences, connecting accounts to payments, and giving people the device, I think is going to increase that industry and market exposure tremendously. And of course, you're always going to have developed nations that are experimenting with crazy hardware that the rest of the world will probably not get their hands on for some time. So I think making it accessible at the lowest level makes a lot of sense. So copying the payment argument with mobile banking access for developing nations, I think is what takes gaming in general and makes it a global phenomenon even more than it already is, because it tends to bring people together through experience in ways that a lot of other online activities just don't. And we've seen that over the past 10 years. Perfect examples being talked about today.
80% of adults, according to gaming.net, have gambled in the past year. I'm just kind of curious. I like getting into the detail, down into the weeds sometimes. I'm curious, what is the most popular online game that people play? What do people love to play?
There's so many options out there for gaming experiences that it's hard to nail down like what the top thing is. Based on numbers, I would venture to say Minecraft is probably that global gaming experience that offers the most diverse selection of people, the most unique experience set.
Are people it's playing that for money?
So in specific communities they are, and that's what makes, I think, Minecraft so unique. Is and specifically there's like a brand new project, Zerfcraft, on the XRPL that I think was a recent grantee winner. And so it's exciting to kind of see that be played where you can attach payments directly into this engine, but it offers you so much customization essentially that anything's possible. So my thing would be Minecraft in terms of just the game that gives you so many options that you could build an entire casino operating Minecraft, and I'm sure it exists. I've seen some crazy stuff there. In terms of just like online experiences with microtransactions taken into consideration, Genshin Impact might be a winner there. And that's a massive global kind of MMO RPG thing that really rewards time spent in game and reoccurring time spent in game. So looking at both of those models combined, I think we're looking at a future of gaming where experience is value and that's rewarded to players in the same way that they're used to, which is experience, XP, like you gain it over time. I think we're going to start to see payment value attached to that. You can call it a token, you can call it a payout, you could call it so many things, but essentially it's people spending time in a specific setting. And if you can understand the value generated in that setting, that to me, that's Web3, right? You can throw a bunch of words around what Web3 is, but to me, it's just adding depth to a new point of observation. And I think payments is the thing that a lot of people want to observe first. So,
yeah, it's the backbone for sure.
Yeah. I find this statistic quite interesting because the question is, when we say 80% of adults did some sort of gambling, the question to me is always what kind of, because what happens a lot. 3 lads in a pub, someone tells a story, it's like, oh, I did this, and the other guy says, oh, I bet you didn't, and the other guy is, I bet £10 or euro, whatever, I can do this straight away. Is that gambling? Yeah, it's a kind of. What I know, my parents usually don't play the lottery, but if the Euro jackpots goes to 90 million and they are forced to pay it out, so they lower the payout classes, they buy a ticket. That's what people do. I mean, imagine last time the Powerball in the States got really big. People got mental. I've seen videos online where rounding around the block in like lines, even worse than what happens when Americans vote. So I think it's human. It's some sort of human nature. It's like, oh, I can do more push-ups than you. I can run faster than you. I can do this better than you. And then there's, oh, we're going to do this for the honor, or we adding this extra spice, which is like, yeah, I bet $5 I can beat you.
There's a lot of that in my family as well. We used to do gentlemen's bet. No, now we've come to money. My dad and I just did one actually. He was going to send a big email out that is announcing a new product that he has, and I didn't agree with the way he was had written his intro. And I said, that is not going to attract anyone. He goes, you don't know what you're talking about. And I said, okay, let's put a dinner on it. if you get 3 responses back, I'll buy you dinner. If you don't, you buy me dinner. And that, that was our bet. By the way,
did he win?
I won.
Oh,
it was too long. It was too long. He needed to condense it down and change his title. And yeah, but that's okay. But yeah, you're right. There's so much of that kind of wagering going on every day. So moving to the aggregated gaming operators, I think, Daniel, the last time I saw you in an interview, I really, it was right in the middle of your move. I think you were just about to go to Isle of Man, and you were talking about, and how you described the business model really made sense to me. Aggregating these operators in one place where the onboarding could be simplified and really streamlined, so that you had this enhanced experience where you just do it once and then you have all these other options. Is that still kind of the way it's going?
Yeah, that's the original vision that existed all the time. However, when I have these conversations, I'm a tech guy, so I'm like, oh yeah, there are 5 solutions, we can use 4. Let's throw them all together. We're gonna make this work this way, that way. Just connect the dots, blah blah blah. Everything is fine. Push it out, works, right? Yeah, that works. However, there are always legal strings attached. So the ultimate vision of the lobby will be, and Zoom SSO, the single sign-on, is helping a lot with that.
Yeah.
You have the CasinoCoin lobby, which people should check out. So you onboard and you do your KYC. So we collect your data. You get the lobby presented with a couple of operators you can join. You tap one of them to get some more information. You decide to sign up. You do one tap. The wallet is asking you to sign a transaction. We're sending all the data to casino. The casino verifies that the data is correct, creates an account, checks, doesn't check because we already telling them the email address and all the data is valid. So you're getting created you get an account created straight away. We get the data back. We do everything. So it's one tap, fully signed on. You don't need to do anything. You can deposit straight away. If the casino, or depending on what the casino or the operator has as a KYC requirement, we have to ask for consent because of the privacy regulations around the globe. So that's probably the only other second tap you ever have to do. And if you agree, the communication for all of these things are happening between our backend and the operator. So most operators today, depending on their regulatory level, right? Tier 1 might be different from tier 2, but most tier 2s, they don't ask you for strict KYC data before you hit a certain threshold. So what could happen is you've never done KYC with a specific operator. You now won 25,000 grand. Normally they would send you an email and ask for the KYC information. They can now tap into our API, get your KYC data, see that it's legit. They got it for their own records. They can speed up the payout. There's no need to go back and forth and having a conversation about, oh, can you please send us your ID, blah, 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 all that stuff. So extremely simple and fast sign up. fast exchange about user data to make sure everything is legit and legal. And the third thing is, and it kind of sounds like a sales pitch by now, but because we get this question asked a lot, oh, why should I use CasinoCoin? The community we're building is a target audience. So the people we onboarded to the lobby, they're interested in gambling, they did KYC, they're funded. Right. So if we having a conversation, if you're an operator and I'm trying to sell this to you and I'm telling you, look, we have 5,000 active players. That means we have 5,000 active players because I know this because we have the data. It's not like we are an affiliate and we're going to send you 50,000 people and maybe 2% become regulars on your website.
Yeah, I like that though. For being a user, I really like the fact that it's streamlined for me and that I'm not having to repeat multiple steps all the time. It's good. So what are some of the other industries that might cross over into this space for collaborations, for partnerships? I mean, I think that is, in my opinion, where, whether you like the word Web3 or not, it is bringing this universe of people together. And so there are some sectors in society that really can glow nicely together in a Web3 environment. And I'm just kind of curious, what other types of industries could you see coming into the metaverse with you?
That's a great question. And it's like all of them, right? But the ones that stand out are the ones that are exploring augmented reality and like immersive experiences in a way that is, again, based on users experiencing products or goods and services. So like fashion and beauty, I think, is a big one. And we start to talk about how people want to present themselves in digital space. Avatars, for instance, you know, it's like what do you wear when you're not limited to, you know, physics, essentially, like when fabric doesn't have to behave in certain ways, like how do wardrobes change? So I think looking at fashion and beauty in the application of like digital avatars in these spaces is a huge crossover. You'd also mentioned kind of the entertainment side, right? So like music and live performance, lots of really cool stuff that's being done right now with like video projection and volumetric video and capturing objects and putting them in spaces and manipulating how they essentially exist, because there's no rules there. So there's I think a huge crossover on, again, just that creative side. Music in the space is another cool one. Spatial audio is a huge interest of mine. So how do you create like oral experiences that give people an opportunity to traverse space with sound alone, right? Casinos are good at that. And directing flows of people in physical space, I think, will be an interesting challenge to translate into digital spaces. So like, I guess the last crossover would be architecture and design, right? Like, what do these spaces look like? How do people move through them? These are all really unique questions that I think people will get excited to explore over time. And again, you can incentivize it with payments. So it takes it out of that kind of like old school gaming where it's just like, I'm just going to put a bunch of time into this and hopefully people appreciate it for that. And it moves it a little bit more towards production in general, right? Where it's just like, hey, I'm going to create something and I will get rewarded with value over time as people experience it. So putting that, again, all into this space is a huge crossover opportunity. And I think some big brands are looking at that right now. Really exciting time.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you can dream it, it can happen, I think, is in the stage that we're in. So up and coming announcements, anything you want to share with the audience?
Well, there are a couple of things I could mention, but the problem, or one of the hardest lessons we have learned in the past, is if we're going to say something, it's not happening in the expected time frame, people are going to freak out. But what we can say is we made a lot of progress with the virtual lobby Artifex is building. There is a alpha version ready for ICE. I'm not quite sure about public access by now. It still needs some tweaking. It's looking good, it's working, it's exactly the way we want it. So the vision that Artifex has, the vision we're having, they are really perfectly aligned. It's just like the stuff needs to be built, it doesn't exist. It's different from what we just talked about before the show started. It's like, this is not another version of Decentraland, right? We're connecting a real world casino with the existing player account into the metaverse, where you can hang out with your friends, having a beer, while one of you is going absolutely mental at blackjack, right? That's what we want. We're trying to copy this real world experience into a virtual room, so to speak, because it's a virtual room. I guess the questions people always have is, when is the next operator announcement? When is the next exchange announcement? We're working on these items. Some of them will happen sooner than people think. There are a couple of things we're working on since last year, which are being a bit of pain in the ass, excuse my French, but and it's one of this is an upcoming conversation I have on Twitter all the time. When I'm telling people, just because an exchange does have XRP doesn't mean they're ready for tokens. And it's one partner we're working at the moment. They do have XRP. They have some changes they need to do on their back end. They are a running company, so they're making revenue. There's something happening every day. So they're giving me a deadline today. 2 weeks time, I come back and be like, hey, are we ready? And they're like, no, we're having another problem. So some items are being pushed into the future a lot. And I hate this, but I'd rather go with, like, it's a bit what Epic does. It's ready when it's ready. I know that sucks. But the last 5 times when I was giving a date and we were all sure about the date, it didn't happen. So I don't want to go back to that. But a lot of stuff is in the pipeline. We're pushing really hard. It's not like we're sitting on our hands or having our finger in our nose and be like, yeah, let's see what happens. So the most exciting item, or for me personally, because everyone thinks different about that, is the Artifex.
And that's that 3D experience, right?
Yeah, it's the 3D experience.
Yeah.
Just had a demonstration yesterday or the day before. One of our designers is now working on some interior design to make this look nice. So it's not only the functionality, so it also looks nice. A couple of people will probably see that at ICE, because it's one of the things we want to show. The lobby works, it's ready. We got some statistics, some analytics on that. That was important. We're holding back on a few partners we want to bring in for various reasons. But yeah, stuff is coming along. I just don't want to say soon because I won't say stuff, but we're making progress. It's just not at the pace I would like to see it.
Well, building always goes a little slower, and the care always needs to be taken to make sure that you have stability. And anytime you build something that's brand new, and I think most of the community has learned that if you don't have a background in working with software, I think it might have been surprising for the I don't even want to call it setbacks or delays, because with Flare, I think there was a lot of people disappointed. But if you work in software, that is to be expected, and that is how this space goes. And you have to really, you just don't build and put it out there and let it break, especially when you have money involved. You have to really make sure that you are building something that has as many bugs out of it as possible that you can at least find ahead of time in terms of a live launch. And yeah, I think the community is getting to understand that you go live when you can go live, when you're ready.
Yeah. I mean, most people should know that from real life, right? It's like, oh, you're getting a craftsman in. They're telling you they're going to come tomorrow. They're not coming tomorrow because something else happened, right? Your garage is telling you it takes 2 days to fix the car and it takes 4. And what we experience is the more people are involved in a specific task, the harder it gets to coordinate everyone. Because if one, and I experience this a lot myself, so I'm giving tasks out to my team and I tell them, be ready till that specific time, because it's usually like, I might be awake 3 a.m. in the morning and I want to deal with this. And I told you it should be ready yesterday. And when I figure out it's not ready by the time I'm ready to deal with it, then I can't finish the work, which is already a day late. And now it's being another day because we need to coordinate again and again and again. So yeah, a lot of people do understand this. A lot of newcomers don't get this. It also might be, it's a bit different to work on the XRPL than on an ERC20 token, right? I can clone an existing DeFi contract and this existing token or whatever and be done in 2 hours. Having this, just tweaking minor stuff. If you build something from ground and you're having all these conversations and you need to coordinate teams in different time zones around the planet, it's not always going according to plan. That's a bit annoying, but it has become better. It has become better in the last year for sure, from my experience.
That's good. Development also too changes and tweaks and moves into directions that you didn't anticipate in the beginning. So sometimes that delay comes from, well, we found a better way to do it, but in order to do that, it's going to take a little bit more time. That's really, really a common one also. And that delay is good. It's an enhancement that you came across.
Yeah, or sometimes it just takes you 3 weeks to figure out that an idea sounded really good on paper, but in reality it's absolute garbage. Right? And you just wasted 3 weeks. Right? So yeah, it happens a lot.
Yeah. Well, I'm not pressuring you for any times or dates, but I can see that this use of the new technology the ArtFX is bringing is going to be really cool. I'm positive of that. Will everybody be in an avatar? Do you think we choose an avatar to? How does that?
Yeah. So we have an integration with a third-party servicer called Ready Player Me, and it gives you the ability to straight up pick a 3D avatar representation of yourself as closer as unique as you'd like.
And you can be a new person every time you go in?
Truly, yes. And like, I think giving people that type of opportunity, either for expression or expression through experience, or just like creative, I don't know. I think I like the creative expression through experience. I'm not going to try to one up that. But yeah, giving people that opportunity to dynamically change how they see themselves, as well as how other people see themselves in these spaces, I think is going to be a very big draw. So yeah, we'll that kind of connects into some of the stuff that we'll be talking about over the next few weeks, but it's all about connecting in to what people expect and those social expectations and translating them in the 3D space. So as much as people want to look human, we'll provide that. And as many people that want to just be a giant banana in the metaverse, that those options will appear as features, I'm sure, soon. But on top of that, we recently announced our structured pre-seed. So we're not going to be doing any sort of like tokenomics or XRPL launch, just keeping it very clean. We have a long-term vision for Artifex Meta, and that includes like intellectual property around some of these concepts, and the content around those conversations is super important. So we'll start talking about that a little bit more. There's a reason why it's kind of just been like, what does Artifex Meta do? But on top of that, I think we're also going to start talking about 2 features. One is going to be some more merchant services, right? So like how how can you change a traditional e-commerce experience into something a little bit more unique. And then the second one will be announcing, I think, some more collaboration with names that were recently introduced to the XRPL ecosystem, which I won't spoil, but really cool projects over the next 6 months that are probably attached to the grants. We'll say that. But yeah, seeing the collaboration between these teams after having gone through that experience is really cool. So I'm excited to see how RippleX steps up that game. The future is bright. So the ecosystem should have a cool few announcements over the next few weeks, and I'll leave it there.
That is really, really great. I love to hear that. I think one of the truly most satisfying things for me to hear is when people who are building individually on the XRPL or in the ecosystem, but then if they can find other people within the ecosystem to work with to bring all that strength together, I think that is a really beautiful thing. So that makes me feel really happy. Yeah, good. Yeah. So we're going to let it go. I just want to, if there's anything that we missed to say, and also where should people be following you to see where this update is coming on for an announcement? Where's the best place? Is it Crypto Twitter? Is that the best place?
Yeah, Crypto Twitter, you can search Artifex Meta, it will pop up. Also, if you just go to artifex.info, and that's just artfx.info, that will give you a kind of sneak peek into what we're talking about. And again, that's accessible via the browser. And you can learn more about what we're doing there. And of course, yeah, Crypto Twitter's on it. So you'll hear announcements, I'm sure, as they're made.
Is that where you come into kind of a universe that's in a grid and you can move from left to right? And
yes,
yeah,
yes,
I had fun. I had fun with that. And you can even go up and down. And I think you have a pot in the middle.
Yeah, so that's a really unique story. I won't take up more than a minute on that, but we are looking at how humans have moved value over time. And what's a really unique artifact to consider is a pot, is a piece of ceramic that carried something. And so one of the first objects that we're showcasing on our site, and that's something that's actually handmade in physical reality that we've been able to scan into a digital space, and it's showcasing that kind of technology. If you interact with that, it showcases how payments can start to interact with virtual objects and then pass through into the physical world, to where if somebody wanted to purchase that pot, there's options for that moving forward. And that's where I think this NFT world can really mature into this cross reality type of experience. So yeah, the website is cool, and it should inspire some people to think about how they could utilize that technology. We're open to conversations about that too. Young company, let's see what we can do.
Yeah, it captured my attention for sure, and I thought it was super cool. And I can see how when you walk into an environment and those tools to move things and lift them up, turn them around, get on top of it, move it wherever, it's really very, very good for expanding the universe that you're playing in. Daniel.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, you know what I just thought about. So once we're ready with the proof of concept /alpha version, we're gonna send you a link so you can be the first outsider to have a look. So you will be the first person to judge on how good or bad it is, but you will be blown away, I'm sure.
Will I be able to take screenshots, or screenshots no way?
I have my legal team sending you an NDA, and then we're gonna talk about details.
Okay. So, I want to play. I want to play.
You will be able to. That's already working. In terms of where to follow for announcement, go to CasinoCoin.im. So all the social media accounts, which is Twitter, Discord, the Medium blog, everything is on there, and you should be able to find me on Twitter. I don't want to shield myself on Twitter. There's one thing I've been forced to say. My marketing guy, Jack's really awesome. So
Jack is awesome.
I love you, Jack.
Yeah.
Thanks for making it happen.
Amazing communicator. He's so quick and just so on it. Yeah, he's amazing. Truly, he's really good to work with.
Make sure you cut that in because otherwise I'm getting killed. Thanks.
I'm really and honestly excited to see what you guys are building. I want to play as soon as I can play. I'm gonna get me that NDA so I can do it.
We will.
And I
So
want to get in.
Yeah.
I want
We
to
will
take a
find
look.
an option so you can have a gamble and see and get some feedback. We're gonna make this happen.
Yeah, very good. All right, guys, thanks for taking the time. I really do appreciate it. And we'll keep following you closely. I can't wait.
Thanks so much, Eri.
Perfect.
Yeah, do take care.
Thanks for having us.
Sayonara for now.
Sayonara.
Bye-bye.